Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Battletech, the career mode chasing Kerensky. I'm your host, Close Fade. It's episode 26. It's the last episode. We're down to 6 days remaining. We're not going to make it. Sadly, not going to get there. The big problem right here is star systems visited. I'm going to be 3 star systems short. Actually, probably 2, but this was a little bit disappointing because last time I got this, and I had probably 60 days left to play by the time I got this. And I thought I was being just as diligent this time, and it turns out I was not. But it wouldn't have mattered. We're still going to be short on C-bills by about 15,000 points. I had 220 million in the bank at one point in time, and I just took it and I spent it as you're supposed to, and bought a whole bunch of stuff and resold it. But I made 2 grave errors in this playthrough, and one was, what I've learned is that because the store, what you really should be doing is, like, with 900 days left, once you get that little slush fund of like 40 million like this, you should be buying every single partial mech salvage that every system offers. You should just buy them and put mechs together over time and sell them. It's going to earn you a lot more money than... It's going to earn you a lot more money than not. You're going to want it. I've heard can be up to 33% of what you need in your score. And I didn't do that. So that was a huge mistake. So I ended up, here I am running around with $200 million at the end. And I should have been spending it the whole time. And it doesn't do you any good at the end. If you sit here and just buy, like I found the most expensive thing I could, which was assault class jump jets, and just repeatedly bought these because they're unlimited, and you buy gobs of them and then sell them, you get about an 11% return on your investment. So you're going to spend $200 million basically to make about 22 million, which is barely going to make a dent in this score up here. 22 million doesn't make a dent in this hardly. And so mechs are what you need. You need to be buying those mechs along the way. And I didn't do that. Where we're at navigation-wise here with 6 days left is we're way over here in Davion space. I went down in here into Urano Restoration, and I did a couple of systems here. This is where you want to end the game, but you want to be done with flying around. You want to have your 170 systems done before you fly in here, because this space and this space and this space, they're a whole bunch of dead ends. You can't get to these. You can't get to these and fly through anywhere. This whole space here is a dead end, and in fact I'll show you what it looks like on the paths map. So this is the paths map, and you can see that down here in this Urano Restoration area, it's all locked in. There's really only a couple of ways in or out of here, and all these ones at the fringes, like Cormadir and Artru and Heliat, and then in particular Regis Roost, because I guess it's travel distance, they're dead ends. You have to fly to them to get them and count. And of course, I think Cormadir is something ridiculous, like 19 days of travel time. So since you can't fly past it, and then fly into it and turn it into 3 days in and 19 days out, there's just no way for any of these to count. So there's a lot of dead ends on this map that have to be accounted for, and I had forgotten about that when it came to the Urano Restoration. So I flew in here thinking, oh yeah, I need 20 more systems. I'll just fly through here and get all these, and oops, nope, you can't do that. So I had to fly back out over to here, and there's the problem here. All these systems over here, Pinard, Ishtar, Samantha, and Jansen's Hold, you can't fly through any of these. I guess because the distances are so long, the game won't let you create a path over and around these, and so you have to fly to them and then fly out of them for them to get. And it's the same thing with these 3 dead ends up here, and it's just, there are a bunch of dead ends, and aggravating. I think one of the other things that crippled me is that the pirate systems don't show the little graphic here. If you've already visited it, you can't tell. It doesn't show up. So some of these systems, I have no idea if I actually went through them or not. I have to guess that I did. I need to keep better track. So next time, obviously, when I do this, I'm going to have to keep track of these systems that I went through and say, oh yeah, I actually haven't visited this system. So if I create a path over it, it's okay. This will count. But I didn't do that. So we're going to end up 3 systems short. But like I said, it really wouldn't have mattered, because even if we'd have got the 25,000 from the star system completion, that would only push us up near 740, and that's not enough to get the Kerensky score. So it's just not possible. So we're not going to get it this playthrough. And I'll go over again. The biggest problem I established a while ago was we had finished the Magistry of Canopus, and we had negated it out, minus 100. And then somewhere up in here, up in the Capellan territory, we got one of those between the mission story elements, and it said somebody needed medical supplies. And I'm like, oh yeah, just 30,000, sell it to them. Well, it was for the Magistry of Canopus, and it caused their faction reputation to go up by 1 point. Medical supplies is worth 1 point. So now all of a sudden my Magistry of Canopus is not at minus 100. And I had to fly back through these systems and find one system. I ended up having to go way down here to find a system that had a mission against the Magistry of Canopus, which is a surprise because there are a whole bunch of systems up here, like this one, right there, Aquagea, where there's Magistry of Canopus. But as I flew over it to check the missions, I would fly over these systems as I was working my way down here. These missions didn't exist. The missions against the Magistry of Canopus didn't exist. It was like the game toying with me, and I just couldn't find one, and that ended up being just terrible. I probably killed 60 days going all the way back down here to find one Magistry. And of course, when I found one Magistry against the Magistry of Canopus, when I found one mission against them, I did everything else in the system, of course. But down here, these are 2 and 3 star systems. You can see it's 2 stars, 2.5, 3. These are low skill systems. So in your last 600 days, this is not anywhere you want to be. So that was a lot of wasted time coming down here to do that for faction reputation. And I think if I hadn't done that, I had a lot better chance of completing the Kerensky score. So there's a couple of points up here. One is that there were a half a dozen systems up here in Merrick that got left that I never touched. And I need to go. I'm going to have to go back. I'm going to have to change some of my strategy here. But I know what I want to do for the second playthrough, and I've made some copious notes about it. The first thing is, all these systems in here, in this space here, a great deal, many of them are local government system owners. And this is definitely where you want to spend the first 200 days or more if you need it to get heavy and assault mechs. This is where you want to spend your time, because you're going to get pirate missions that target the local government, and you're going to get other missions from other people that target the local government. You're going to get a lot of missions targeting the local government, and that's going to help you with the early game faction. And I don't think I realized that these is where all the local governments are. And now I have my own map for this to know which systems are the local government. So that's rule number 1, is very early in the game, spend a bunch of time in these local government systems to A, boost pirate faction as quickly as possible, but B, to not hurt the other factions so much, because early on you want to try to lift everything up, especially Capellan and Merrick. Now over here also, these two, Untran and Tinkalunus, which we visited, but these are the only 2 systems in the game that exist with only 2 factions, Pirate faction and one other one. And these just happen to be Majesty of Canopus and Pirate. You want to go here early in the game to try to get Pirate faction against the Capellans. You'll raise your Capellans later. Which brings me to my second and third points. Point number 2 is go down here as early as you can handle these missions. These are all 2 and 3 skull missions, except for Kate's Hold, which is 1 skull. You want to go down here as early as possible and get, first off, get Majesty of Canopus tanked and out of the way. And this is a good place to spend the first couple hundred days, is down here doing these missions. But get Majesty of Canopus to -100 as fast as possible. And while you're doing that, you'll raise your Capellan. Get these dots off the map. Second thing is, as early as possible, you're going to get that mission somewhere up in here, and I can't remember exactly where it is. It might be Claybrook or it might be Fagerholm. I can't remember. But one of these systems up here. Do the DLC mission like this one, and get the Raven. As early as possible, get the Raven. And not because you're going to use the Raven. The Raven stinks and it's super fragile. But by getting the Flashpoint for the Raven, you expose the EMC to be found and purchased in any system that you drop into. And I'm sure there's some kind of math where certain kinds of systems have electronics, maybe Electronics Advanced might have more of a chance of it showing up. But I can tell you that having an ECM on my Annihilator in the last, 600-700 days, whenever I got it, made all the difference in the world. You get shot at so much less. I was able to take the same 4 mechs, basically, although sometimes I swapped out one of the Annihilators for a Marauder, but I was basically able to take the same 5 mechs into as many 5 skull systems or 4 skull systems with 5 skull jobs like this, like Sean. I was able to walk into these systems and just mow stuff down and headshot everything, and I never took internal damage, and I could have used the same 5 mechs for the whole rest of the game thanks to that ECM, just because it saves you from getting shot at so much. Even if it's saving you one enemy from shooting at you in a turn, it's still a big savings on your armor and on your structural integrity. So it was just huge. And I think that mission always pops up somewhere over here in Merrick space, and I think going and getting that as early as you possibly can, that way you can find an ECM in a store somewhere. I think that's huge. The other thing is, I spent a great deal of time in the first 300-400 days of this playthrough looking for Marauders so that I could headshot things. I actually think that headshotting early is so tough because you don't have enough resolve to be able to do multiple ones on a turn. But those Annihilators with the AC2s and the AC5s that I loaded up, the Ultra Autocannon 5s and the Ultra Autocannon 2s, headshot a lot of stuff. And I think the next time I play through, I'm going to be a lot less picky about making sure I have a bunch of Marauders and more like, do I have things that can just throw down a lot of autocannons? Because even at 18% to hit to headshot, they headshot a lot because they threw so much lead. An Annihilator throwing 5 Ultra Autocannon 5s or 5 Ultra Autocannon 2s is throwing a lot of lead in a single turn. And if even one of those strikes the head, as long as the target doesn't have damage reduction, it's going to die. So that was an eye-opener for me to see those particular builds. I was pretty impressed with that. So I think I have a path forward to actually get this comfortably. Well, I don't think it's ever going to feel comfortably. These last 100 days are always nail biters. But I really want to get the star system thing out. It looks like I should. It almost looks like I should have the star system completion, but I think not going up here and pinging some of these other ones in Merrick space when I had a chance. Like this. There's 1, 2, 3 there. That's a path that I should have taken that would have cleared out a bunch of them. So I think I just got to be more diligent about getting all this. And here's like my 4th rule that I wrote down too for my next playthrough. You should do as much traveling as possible in the early part of the game. A, because you're going to need to. Because you're going to get new mechs and new toys and you're going to need to build them up. And traveling for 10 days or 15 days and dropping down into the system is early in the game is not as effective as it is late in the game. Late in the game, you just want to be able to hop from one really good system to the next. Like up here in Capellan and Merrick and Davian space, you just want to go, oh yeah, here, 5-star, 5-star, 5-star. Because these systems, these 4.5 skull systems and the 4 skull systems, you just want to spend all your time on these systems, making as many sea builds as you can, which means travel early. So you've got some wounded mechs, you've got new mechs, you need to outfit things, and it's telling you, man, you've got 30, 40, 50, 60 days of travel. Okay. Then just target some system that you think you can do that's like 2 skulls or whatever, and travel around the freaking map and get this star system completion thing out of the way. I think somebody ran the math and said that it takes about 500 days to visit 170 systems. I'm not sure that counts dead ends, but still, it's pretty significant. And that tells me that, if you do that, or if it's 500 days or 600 days, that still leaves you with 600 days to at the end of the game, just land and get sea builds. So I think I'm going to spend more of a focus early in the game, and don't be afraid to travel all the freaking way across the map to make sure that by the time you get there, 49 days later, like this says, you're going to have fully stocked up, fully repaired, fully built out, medium mechs, and hopefully your first couple of heavies, and then you'll be able to hammer a system really hard, and then you're going to get wounds, and you're going to get wounded mech warriors, and then do the same thing, fly all the freaking way across the map again to somewhere else that you can do, and kill these damn systems off. Get the 170 system thing out of the way, because this being stressed about it down to the very end and find out that I'm going to be 3 systems short was stinky. So, and that was my big fear the last time I chased Kerensky, was that I was going to be short, and this time I really was short, and it was a bummer. I still think that down here in a Regan space, this is a great place to end the game, because it doesn't hurt any of your factions at all. The way you have it set up. And I also think I did my factions different last time, but this time I think this is actually a smart way to do it. Last time I had the Lyran Commonwealth all the way up, and I tanked Capellan. I actually think that this is probably the best way to do it. You want to get your pirates up as early as you can, and you want to get access to black market, and then you want to tank it and just use your money to keep buying your way in. Because I had, millions and millions and millions of dollars. It's no problem. You should always be able to buy the highest morale, highest payout for your people every single month, the highest maintenance fees, highest payroll. And then you should always be able to just buy when the pirates come and say, hey, you owe us money. They only did that to me one time, and it was like $2.5 million, and I'm like, oh, well, that's easy. I got $200 million in the bank. But I think these 4 factions are probably the best ones to have at plus 100. It's always a push with these 3 over here, because the Federated Suns, the Capellans, and the Free Worlds are not allies with each other. These guys are against Capellans, and same thing with Merrick. They're against the Capellan Federation. So every time you do a mission for these guys, it drops them, and vice versa. And that makes it tough when you're walking into one of those 4.5, 5 skull systems. And the threshold is a reputation of 80. So if you're in one of these systems like this, like Menki, and you're looking at just a whole big board full of 5 skull missions, well, the reputation is also a lot too, and it doesn't take much to tank it. And if you tank your reputation below, let's go back. If you tank your reputation with a group below 80, that's the threshold. If you go below 80, you can't take 5-star, 5 skull missions. So that's the problem. And I got caught a couple of times not being able to do all the missions in a system just because of the way these factions bounced back and forth. But I still think this is probably the best configuration. Because the problem is, if you don't have these three main ones set up like this, then you waltz into those systems, like when I did last time when I made the Lyran Commonwealth 100, plus 100, and I made the Capellans minus. The problem is the Capellans have so much space, and also their missions bleed over here into these Davion space and Merrick space and down here. If you don't have the Capellans as an ally, then what happens is you waltz into any of these Capellan systems, and yeah, you're going to have some Davion missions, and you're going to have some Merrick missions, but there are going to be Capellan missions there, and you just can't do them. And I would rather not do them because my reputation was just below 80 than because it's minus 100. Because the below 80 part you can fix. Anytime you waltz onto one of these systems it's like this, like 3.5 skulls, if there's a 4 skull mission there and your reputation is 77, you can do it. You can boost it back up and then play the back and forth games. So those are my rules to live by for the next playthrough. Is going to be go in here to the government systems early, travel a lot, get the Magistry of Canopus taken care of and tanked as soon as possible, get the Raven as quickly as possible, and then get the 170 star systems out of the way as soon as possible, so that at the end all I have to do is worry about C-bills. And also buy these. Buy all of these. Buy all the parts. All the partial muck salvages. As soon as you get about 40 million in the bank, just start buying all of them in every system you run across. So this is going to be the end here. Let's go. Where am I at? Let's go into the very last star system, and I don't think this was Brockway, which is 6 days away. That's where we were headed. We're going to go over there. It's going to be 3 days. It should be 3 days to get there. Oh yeah, but we're going to have to take 3 days to get out of this system, aren't we? So anyway, it's a little bit of a bummer to be short on this, but Brockway, travel to system. We got 3 days, change your course, and we're going to be done. They're not going to count. I bet they count that it's the end of the 3rd day, so I'm not going to get to do any more missions or sell anything. Probably it's going to say the ending score. Yep, 0 days left. So are we done with the score?
Got a new financial report for you.
Oh, new financial report. Yeah, spend the last little bit of them. 0 days remaining. So I don't know if that counts for one more day. But anyway, the point is we can't get. We're 2 systems short. So 2 systems short. I sold, everything except for, I could have gone in here and sold a couple of Marauders. Marauders and Annihilators. Hey, take me to the bays there, Yang. Ding dong. So this was my best Marauder. I can get rid of a bunch of these and get rid of this Highlander. But these don't buy you enough. I never did use those Highlanders. My Annihilators, especially the one with the ECM, were awesome. I loved those. They were fantastic. So you could go in here. Oh, and I did learn something about pilots. Tell that story in a second. So go through here and look at stuff that I can sell. If I have anything else, yeah, there's like 3 Highlanders there. Just sell a couple more of these guys. I don't know, is this going to adjust my score at all? I don't think so. It might move it like a fraction. But at any rate, yeah, and there's all this extra stuff. And you can just go through here and sell all these things, but they're not going to make a dent. We're going to be short 719. The other 25,000 from there would have been great. It got us to 745. That would have been cool. It's so close, so narrowly close. But one of the other things I learned was with pilots, the mech warrior scoring for your pilots. I lost a pilot. and I had to hire somebody back, but I learned that I actually didn't have to hire him back. The points you get for Mech Warrior experience, you keep these. So if a pilot dies, you don't actually lose any points. I had, or at least I didn't. And this might be because here's why it might have happened for me. Enough of my other pilots might have had enough extra experience that losing that pilot didn't ding me here. But what happened is one of my really good pilots was in an Atlas, and we were going up. It was one of those target acquisition missions. It's the one in the polar region, and we just got overwhelmed. We got some bad luck, and one of the little tiny vehicles walked up to my Atlas and put the machine gun in his face and killed him. Killed my pilot. And my Atlas, the 7 DHT, took it in the face. Fortunately, you get your mech back from that. So the mech survived, but the pilot did not. And I was very surprised when I came back in here and I saw that I still had 55,000 mech warrior experience points. And I was like, wait a minute, what? And I'm not exactly sure if that's just because the rest of my... See, I bought this person and I never worked them up. And I'm just not sure it's because some of these pilots have so many... Look, 98,000 XP. Glitch, has 277,000 XP. So I think that's probably why, because there's enough mech warrior experience to go around that this guy means nothing. And let's see who it was. Frosty's the one who died. 493 days. So, yeah, days 493 through 1022. It says, I don't know what. Yeah, so that was when he died. It was on day 1022. So that was rough. Cyber died on day 0. Got smoked on the first mission, I think. And Gilbert Gottfried got smoked on a headshot early. So those were hit in the head by an enemy griffin. I like how it says it's hit in the head by an enemy hunchback. I remember this on the very first mission. I was like, are you kidding me? I think it was the very first mission that an enemy hunchback with the AC-20 came out and it shot Cyber right in the face. And I'm like, well, that's 3 deployments. She was in 3 deployments. Oh my gosh. Gilbert went on 21 deployments. Took 8 injuries, really. Made 25 mech kills. Ejected one time and then got hit in the face. So Frosty never did have to eject. Went on 48 deployments, made 69 mech kills. It would be actually, let's go take a look at that. I want to look at some of my other mech warriors here on the way out on this last mission. My character didn't do anything, obviously. Bronzite. I just want to see the service record. Oh yeah, days with the company, 1153. Who made the most mech kills? 78. Probably not. I want to see who did that. Mech kills 114. El Deuce made 87. So 114 is the most we've seen so far. Ooh, Glitch. And Glitch came in with the company late. She got there and we found her about day 800 left. So about 400 days in, we found her. She's got 160. I have no idea who might have beat her, actually, because I can't remember. Pulsar had a lot of kills, 116. So Glitch still has the most at 160. Ooh, Riddler got 146. We're gonna roll through here and see if anybody beat Glitch. This will be fun. Sourbug 92. Stormcloud. Tinker, I liked having that character around. I actually found that having sensor lock was useful on a few mechs. So these are 3 configurations I'm going to use a lot. Breaching shot on the Atlas with the autocannon 20. This is fantastic. And this was my favorite configuration with coolant vent and bulwark and split. These for the Annihilators are great, but this is really useful on a Marauder or on the Annihilator. Being able to, anything that runs really hot, being able to take a turn off and run sensor lock. This was also really efficient with the Grasshopper. So those were really, really good. Ultimatum had 67 kills. Zapper had 79, and Zipper had 48. So Glitch wins. Glitch, our favorite, 277,740 experience, 160 kills, 108 deployments, 5 injuries taken, 49 other kills, and days of the company was 803. She did a fantastic job. Salary, nice. She's making almost 6 figures a month. Well, that's it, folks. That's the end. We come up short on the Kerensky score, but I learned a lot. I'm definitely going to give this one more try, just because this game is so fun and it's so relaxing for me to play when you're getting off work, you're having and when you're in a situation like I am, where my wife works late because she owns a restaurant. I have sometimes a lot of hours here in the evening, and I have other projects and things I'm working on, music and some other stuff, but it's nice to just unwind and be able to kick off an hour or two with this. This game is really relaxing, unlike some other recent games we've played. So yeah, I'll give this one more go, and I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna use more graphics in the next version, especially for the map, and keep a little more fine detailed track of the money we're earning. Maybe do some charting and things like that. I really want to condense down for YouTube what happens on this next Kerensky playthrough. But folks, thanks for watching. Sorry, no actual missions in this episode. This is just the wrap-up episode. So I knew when I got down to the last 100 days I was probably going to be short, and then when I got down to the last 60, I was certain I was not going to make the star system completion. I was like, oh. So I decided not to show any more missions because it was just, I knew I was going to be short. At any rate, thanks everybody for following along. As always, if you guys dig the episode, give it a thumbs up. If you like the channel, subscribe if you have not already. If you have a question or comment, drop it down below. And if you want to see more videos from me, my Patreon is listed in the description. I'll see you all next time, folks. Thanks for watching.